Episode 7, A Fairy in Danger. We continue where we left off from the last episode. The Winx finally found the last Earth Fairy named Roxy, but also encountered the Wizards of the Black Circle, and a battle ensued to protect her. But things aren't going well in their favor. Tekna says there's no way they could win this, but Stella has an idea. She advised Bloom, along with Flora and Aisha, to take Roxy and keep her somewhere safe, to which they fly to her. Anakin spots and was rushing towards them to capture Roxy, but was blocked by Tekna's digital firewall, and with Stella quickly using her Solarian staff, used it to teleport Bloom, Aisha, Flora, Roxy, R2, and Roxy's fairy pets to another location. After teleporting them away, Musa, Stella, and Tekna used objects and their surrounding environment to their advantage. Musa then used her enchanted spell, Choir Symphony, to create various vocal stacks of her voice in high frequencies to deafen the wizards. Followed by Stella, through her scepter, created a new variant of a mix of Ocean of Light and Supernova to blind them, and then Tekna used Digital Glitch to form a digital web-like cage to pin them down, which does work for a bit, but Gatlos broke free, then used his shockwaves to knock them unconscious. He, along with the others by Ogron's command, spurred out and tried to find Roxy. Stella then got up and began to call Brandon that they need their help, for it's a matter of life and death. And Musa then used her power to try to amplify the sounds around her to find the wizards as well as the girls. Then she, along with Stella and Aisha, used an invisibility spell on them and flew off. In the next scene, we see that Bloom, Aisha, Flora, and Roxy, as well as her pets, are seen transported to an alleyway. Roxy quickly pushes them away, freaking out and asking who and what the girls are, and asks about the wizards and what do they want with her. Bloom tries to calm Roxy down and remind her of what she told her earlier back at the shack, and she further explains their mission. All of this naturally is difficult for Roxy to grasp, for everything was happening way too fast. But Flora states that they'll do whatever it takes to keep her safe. Unfortunately, they were tracked down by Dumont and begin to battle. Bloom says she'll hold them off while Aisha and Flora take Roxy and R2 somewhere safe, but before they do, Anakin appeared as well. Both were ready to fight, but saw Roxy and R2 and the fairy pets running away. Anakin began to try to capture her, but was stopped by Flora's vine wall and Aisha's Morphic Sphere to entrap him. Roxy and R2 ran to the streets of Gardenia, thinking where to go next. She states that she doesn't want to go home nor the bar, for she doesn't want to put her father, Annabelle, or anyone else involved in this situation. R2 pointed out that they should head down the sewers, much to Roxy's disgust, but she knows there's no time to be picky and trusts R2, and soon she, along with the fairy pets, and him head down to the sewers. Back in the alleyway, we see that Flora and Aisha are trying to hold down both Dumont and Anakin, who was shown very difficult to pin, and they eventually broke free. Anakin used his powers to levitate and strangle the girls, but Musa used her sonic screen on him and Dumont, followed by Stella using her scepter to create Solarian Sunbeam to hit them from behind. Musa, Stella, and Tekna unveiled themselves, and together with Bloom, Flora, and Aisha cornered them, but Anakin and Dumont soon teleported away. Flora says that they got to find Roxy quickly, and they must get the guys to help them. Followed by Stella saying that she did, and soon Tekna called Timmy via hologram call along with the other guys and told them where to meet them with the location Tekna sent them, and soon cloaked themselves with the invisibility spell and flew off. Down in the sewers, R2, Roxy, and the fairy pets are seen walking through the waterway, much to Roxy's disgust, until they find a dry place and sit for a bit. Roxy states how she feels everything is a dream, and despite seeing how much the girls were risking their lives for her, she doesn't believe in fairies nor believes she's one herself, that it's impossible. It isn't real. Soon, a mysterious but nurturing and soft-spoken voice appeared before her. Roxy immediately recognized the voice from her dreams. The voice tells her that all what's happening is possible, and that she is indeed a fairy, the fairy of animals. It then told her she must have faith and trust in the fairies who are protecting her, as well as herself, just as the voice had faith in Roxy. This does get Roxy to reflect a bit, but the voice tells her that she can help her find an exit and a place to hide. Roxy and R2 follow the voice through the sewers and led them to a ladder, then it disappeared. They soon climbed up the ladder, and that led them to Gardenia Park, where they were hidden in the forest area. Unfortunately for her, Gatlos and Oberon appeared before her. Gatlos soon then grabbed her, only for Roxy to sucker punch and kick them towards Oberon, knocking them down, and began to run, but Dumont and Anakin appeared once again, surrounding her. We see the wizards were about to summon the Black Circle, but R2 and the fairy pets charged and attacked Dumont's forearms, but was hit with a blast by Oberon and knocked them down, which infuriated Roxy. Oberon says how admirable but annoying these pets are. He was about to kill them with his spell, only for Roxy to get even more angry and shouting, "No!" Then conjured her first magical energy blast of spring green color towards Oberon, who fell but is seen absorbing her magic when getting back up. This shocked her, and everything that the Winx, the wizards, and the boys said to her was true, for her possibly being a fairy. She began to get up, still enraged. Roxy projected another magical energy blast that made a direct hit towards the wizards, but unfortunately for her, it didn't affect them. We go over to the next scene where the girls are flying. Musa is using her magic of sounds to locate Roxy and the wizards' voices to the crowd, but it's proven difficult because there's so many voices in the city. Soon they sense Roxy's magic trail in Gardenia Park and follow it. While they are flying down, we see Tecna pinpointing the location and sending it to Timmy, saying there's been a change of plans and telling him to meet them there in the park. Back in the park, we see Roxy attempted to project another energy blast, but was unsuccessful. Luckily for her, the Winx have arrived to defend Roxy, though they seemed a bit worn out. Bloom then noticed R2 has been hurt, as well as the pets, as she soon used her healing powers to restore him back to good health. Roxy was happy and thanked Bloom, but they were interrupted by the wizards summoning the Black Circle once more, and the gravitational pull is sucking Roxy in. But we see Musa and Flora flew and grabbed onto her, desperately trying to pull Roxy away from the circle, but they were unsuccessful, for the magic of the circle blossomed and successfully sucked Roxy in. All seemed lost for the Winx and the victory for the wizards, but both parties noticed that a white magical energy started to engulf Roxy, repel and disrupted the Black Circle. This became a shock to everyone, especially the wizards, as it was impossible, for no Earth Fairy has ever disrupted the energy of the Black Circle before. The white magical energy protected Roxy from being absorbed. Confused and angry, Oberon attempted to grab Roxy by force, but the white magical energy surrounded her again and burned his hand, resulting in him screaming in agony. He commanded the other wizards to attack the fairies, but they were blocked off by Brandon's sword, and we see that the rest of the specialists and Naboo came in to protect the girls, sporting their new armor that Saladin and Hagen created for them. The boys and the wizards went for a round 2, where this time the boys came out victorious, with their physical attacks having some effect on the wizards and Naboo's magic as well. Clearly beaten and outnumbered, Oberon commanded that the other wizards to retreat, and they disappeared. Then the girls transformed and the guys changed back into their casual outfits. Flora, Aisha, and Tecna were relieved that the boys came in to help, because they didn't know what would happen if they haven't shown. Bloom, Aisha, and Stella also agreed, but playfully believed that they could have handled it by themselves. Roxy, still feeling a bit shocked about all that happened, Bloom walked up to her asking if she was okay, to which Roxy responded that she honestly doesn't know what to think nor feel, and asked if she could be left alone, to which the Winx specialist sadly understands. But before she left, she turned around and thanked them and appreciated what they've done for her, as well as with R2 and her fairy pets. The girls insisted on walking her home to keep her safe, but she turned them down and stormed off. After she left, the girls once again thanked the boys, and Sky went up to Bloom to say sorry to her for that it was silly of him to get jealous of Andy, and said that he trusts and loves her, to which Bloom says she loves him too, and they soon kissed and hugged. As they walked out of the park, they told the girls that they had an interview tomorrow as waiters at the Fruity Music Bar, and Timmy is starting a store that deals with computers and other electronics, and it's a great opportunity for them to also watch out for Roxy if they get hired. The girls were excited for them. Then Stella added that as much as she loves their look, she also said it's time for the boys to have a new change of scenery, and they all walked out of the park and headed to the girls' apartment. But as soon as they headed out, they see that people are gathering around at the park trying to figure out what has happened with the strange light that they've been witnessing, which worried them. Afterwards, our heroes return to the Winx apartment. Here, Stella is creating some of the designs for the guys and use her magic to summon their Season 4 outfits. They then soon contacted Miss Farragonda and the rest of the Company of Light and told them of what occurred today. They told them about the last Earth Fairy they found, named Roxy, and with the help of the boys, they were able to save her from the wizards. But Aisha says that they're still bombarded about not obtaining Believix, and that Roxy had a hard time believing in magic. Farragonda says she understood, but kept the girls in mind that this is all too new and a shock for the young fairy, and they'll attain their Believix powers eventually, but for now, their priority is to protect and defend Roxy and gain her trust, but most importantly, become her friends. Hagen says that now that she's been discovered, the real challenge begins, and they must be on their guard and vigilant. Naboo then told them how the wizard tried to absorb her. He was told by Aisha that a white magical energy disrupted the circle and protected Roxy. Griffin says she finds that very interesting. Perhaps something or someone must have placed a protection on her in case of an attack such as today. Timmy also says that the wizards aren't being discreet and cause a commotion at Gardenia Park, saying it's going to be now difficult to be discreet. Salin says that they'll consult with Balazar to see what they can do for the next steps. Farragonda then told them that they must work together with Roxy. They need to depend on one another to defeat the wizards and restore magic back to Earth. It won't be easy, but she knows that they'll succeed, and then they locked out. Then our heroes looked out the windows, thinking about the possible outcome of the future. We transition back to the realm of Graynor. Here, the ancestral spirit of nature in Arcadia sees the fragile bud on the earth branch on the Tree of Fairies begin to glow, and is starting to look firm and healthy. Arcadia is seen pleased, saying that it won't be long for the last Earth Fairy to blossom her awakening very soon, ending this episode.